So until this issue of mob blessing arises, the issue of the terror gang in Nyatsime area has not been spoken about. This is the first time when it is now coming out openly, because there is no evil that will persist forever.
On this, the Free Talk.
Political opponents have been jailed. This has not started now. It was the pre-colonial era where the Smith regime would jail political opponents without trial. It happened also during the President Robert Gabriel Mugabe regime, and it has continued into the second dispensation, at least according to people like Beatrice Mtetwa, Themba Mliswa, the Zimbabwe Human Rights NGO Forum, and other civic organizations which have condemned the use of the law to silence political opponents. Job Sikhala, Godfrey Sithole, and 14 others from Nyatsime in Chitungwiza have been languishing in remand prison for over 86 days. They have been denied bail at every turn. Civil society, the opposition CCC, have accused the government of using the law to silence critics. Now we are going to have a sneak peek into the life of the Nyatsime 14. We are going to hear from Job Sikhala's spokesperson, who will take us through what is happening behind the scenes, the legal battles, the politics, and the law. Here on this, the Free Talk, with me, your host as usual, Dara Blessed Mhlanga. Dara Rewan. Legislator Job Sikhala was arrested and has spent close to 86 days in remand prison. A number of prominent people, including Strive Masiwa, have actually petitioned the Zimbabwean government to release Job Sikhala, Godfrey Sithole, and 14 others from Nyatsime from prison and allow them to have their fair day in court while it's coming from their homes. Some have called this a form of warfare that government is using to silence its critics. Now, here in studio this evening, I'm joined by Job Sikhala's spokesperson and also legal practitioner Freddie, who's going to be talking to us about what is happening behind the scenes. Now, thank you very much, Freddie, and welcome to Heart and Soul TV and radio.
Thank you so much, Blessed, and good evening, Zimbabwe.
Now, I just want you, I know you've been visiting Job Sikhala in remand prison. So just firstly, let's talk about how he is, how he's faring, and the others who were arrested together with him.
Thank you. I can safely say for now he's okay, physically, obviously, mental wise, he's struggling. It's not easy to be in custody for a period which is close to 100 days. Next week, Wednesday, it will be exactly 100 days. So it has not been something that's easy for him, easy for Honorable Godfrey Sithole and the rest of the 14 people that they were arrested together with. So yeah, for now we are only happy that he's physically fit, considering that there was a situation where, you know, his mental and physical health was deteriorating. So for now we are mainly happy and that his health is actually okay.
There was a scare that happened, or we were told that his food could have been poisoned. Can you shed more light on that?
Well, yeah, indeed. I spoke with him. On that day, we received a call from the prison officers saying that we had to rush to Chikurubi. You know, something had happened. They did not specifically say what it was. So we drove together with Job Sikhala's wife, Mai Sikhala, and during the way we also received a call from Mai Mtetwa. She was not in the country by then, and she informed Mai Sikhala that there had to be some sort of arrangements for a medical practitioner to visit Job Sikhala. When we arrived there, we could not see him, unfortunately, because he could not walk. From what he told me the following day, he said that there were about 8 men, prison officers, that came to his cell. He said they wanted to conduct some form of search, and he was told not to be anywhere near the search that was being conducted. He also informed me that in the cell was his food and his other personal belongings. And thereafter, some minutes, some hours, he consumed the food that was in there. And after some few minutes, you know, he started having a running stomach, and that's when the whole drama started. And according to him, he said it did not mean that there was actually a nurse who was readily available to attend to him. He could have been dead. So that's how severe the situation was on that day in question. So it was a very alarming situation, and we were all traumatized with that.
Are there any investigations into this? Because something like that happening in prison surely should get you worried.
Yeah, surely. They ought to be an investigation. And we in fact demanded that there be an investigation. You know, this is not something that's simple. It's something that's actually serious, that should raise alarm, you know. The only thing that we have is that there were samples that were taken for investigations to see what could have been the actual cause. But as of now, the samples have not returned. We don't know the results as of yet. So we are not sure. But we are waiting for the results, and you know, we'll pick it up from there.
Let us talk about his living conditions. You appear to say he's staying in a cell by himself, from what I'm hearing you say.
Indeed, he is in an isolated cell. The same applies to Godfrey Sithole. You know, there is really nothing to applaud about the conditions of Chikurubi Maximum Prison. We all know what the conditions are, and you know, Job Sikhala is no different. He's being subjected to almost the same, if not worse, situation and conditions at Chikurubi Maximum Prison.
Why would they put him in an isolated cell? I mean, is that normal procedure for someone who's on remand?
I'm not quite sure yet. But you know that well, it's common cause. It's known that Job Sikhala is in the D-class section. There are a lot of awkward things that happen in Zimbabwe. You know, he's charged with an offense, and ordinarily would expect that person to be put at remand prison. But you know, Chikurubi is a maximum prison, and that's where Job Sikhala is. He's in the D-class at Chikurubi Maximum Prison. You know, so he's actually being subjected to conditions that are somehow different from those that would be subjected to ordinary prisoners. Just to put you into perspective, when you go to see Job Sikhala, he is in leg irons, he is handcuffed. That alone, will inform anyone that he is being treated in a manner that is different from the way ordinary prisons would be treated. We don't expect someone who is on remand to be at Chikurubi maximum prison. We don't expect someone who is on remand to be in the D class section of the Chikurubi maximum prison. But that's the story of Godfrey Sithole and Job Sikhala right now.
Amazing. So you were talking about the conditions. What are the conditions? Paint a picture for us. What do they eat? What are they getting?
Well, in so far as what they eat is concerned, we've tried in as much as possible that he does not eat from Chikurubi. So, that aspect is dealt with. He's provided with food from the wife and other close members of his family. So we've not actually subjected him to the food. It's not good. The food is actually cooked in huge drums, and it's not that good, so to speak. So we've tried in as much as possible to ensure that we don't expose him to that form of food. But the cells themselves, if you go through them, Chikurubi is one hell of a place that is different from any other place. It's cold. We are in summer. It's actually hot right here. It's hot. But when you go into Chikurubi maximum prison, the conditions are completely different. I don't know how it was built, but it's an environment that is very, 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 very cold, and there are no proper amenities, no blankets, and a whole lot of things. So it's that more or less of an abandoned environment, because there is no anything conducive that is at Chikurubi maximum prison. Everything there is not conducive.
Job Sikhala runs a law firm, and obviously in his absence, what has happened to his clients? What has happened to the law firm for 100 days that he has been away?
Job Sikhala runs a department of a law firm. Just to put the record straight, he is an employee as well. He's employed under Tendai BT. So the firm is okay. The boss is there. So the firm, everything is okay. He's an employee of Tendai BT, who is also my superior as well.
So I wanted to find out in terms of he's a breadwinner, and he's not been able to earn, because I know you as lawyers, you earn every time you go with clients to court.
That's true.
Yeah, you charge by the hour, and his hours have been spent in prison. So how is the family surviving?
Well, honestly speaking, it has been difficult. Job Sikhala is a caring father and a loving husband. My Sikhala has been going through a lot. She has been deprived of a lot of things, financially and emotionally. I'll be very honest with you and say they have been struggling. I'm quite sure you know that it is through the generosity of the people of Zimbabwe who actually came up and said, look, let's try and contribute something for the purpose of ensuring that his kids go back to school. Job Sikhala has got a school fees bill of in excess of 5,000 United States dollars. And when he went to prison 3 months ago, nothing had been put in place to ensure that his kids go to school. So it was through that generosity from the people of Zimbabwe that his kids actually managed to go to school right now. Had it not been because of that, I'll be honest with you, his kids would not have been at school. During the first month that Sikhala was arrested, some of his kids were actually sent away from school. So it has not been easy for my Sikhala. Absolutely, it has not been easy.
I also understand that there was a vehicle that she was using that was impounded by the police. What is the state of that vehicle at the moment?
The vehicle is currently at home because there were certain issues with regards to registration and so forth and so forth. So it's currently at home. Indeed, it was impounded, but it was eventually released. So then that brings us back to the issue that I was saying about his kids. You know, Job Sikhala is one of those people who would take his kids to school. He's got an 8-year-old boy, you know, who he used to take to school almost on a daily basis. He's at St. Martin's Primary School. You know, imagine the trauma that young boy is going through. For the past 3 months, there is no that father figure. There is no that dad to actually take him to school. He has got other kids who are at boarding schools. You know, my Sikhala had to struggle to ensure that they travel. When he's there, he takes his kids to school. He's a loving father. He's a loving gentleman. He takes his children to school. So imagine the trauma that those children have been subjected to now that their father has not been around, has not been available for 3 months. We don't know how he's going to last there. It has been very difficult for the Sikhala family. It has been very difficult for the kids, Mkoma.
Maybe just paint a picture to us. The charges that Sikhala is facing and what is the likely sentence if he was to be convicted?
With respect to the first charge, he is being charged with incitement to commit public violence. In terms of the Criminal Law Codification and Reform Act, it's a very serious offense. It's regarded as one of those serious offenses. And if convicted, you face a possible sentence of 10 years in prison. He has got a charge of obstruction where he is alone. It's also a serious offense which attracts a minimum sentence of at least 4 or 5 years. So all in all, if the maximum is imposed, in total, it's a total of 15 plus more years in prison.
But the person you speak for, or who appointed you spokesperson, has denied these charges, isn't he?
Indeed, absolutely, absolutely. There's nothing. You go through the content of the charges, there's nothing. It's actually laughable. Legally, someone has been appointed a spokesperson, well, just like me. Okay, I am to speak on behalf of Mr. Sikhala. Okay, and what I say represents Mr. Sikhala. That's what Mr. Sikhala would want the world to know. That's the similar case. He was appointed a family lawyer and spokesperson of the Ali family. He was arrested for speaking on behalf of the Ali family. He was exercising his duty. He was within the scope of his employment as a legal practitioner. And he was arrested for simply doing his work. He was speaking on behalf of his clients. So one will then be surprised, on what basis do you impute statements of the family on Job Sikhala? He is simply a representative. He's just like me. Where I say some things on behalf of the Sikhala family, I speak on behalf of the Sikhala family and not myself. And even what was spoken, there was nothing inciting about it. So we have been confronted with a political situation that has been manipulated and turned into a criminal offense. That's what we have.
Is this? Some have said that this has become commonplace in Zimbabwean political space, where the judiciary is now used to fight political battles. I mean, is this what you are saying?
Well, yeah. In as much as I would not want to say that, well, it's clear. It's actually obvious. Sikhala has appeared in court several times. The last time we appeared with him in court, he raised his hands and said, "I've surrendered." After the court went to an extent of removing the contents of a court order. When we appeared in court on the 18th of August, 2022, the court said that Sikhala was supposed to be furnished with state papers on that particular day at 5 p.m. The state failed to do that. They ignored that court order. And Sikhala, through his lawyer, Maim Tetwa, made an application for contempt to say what this state is doing is actually a breach of a court order that was issued by this very same court. The court is asked by the court, what were the contents of that court order? They confirm that the court order was to the effect that we furnished them with state papers on the 18th of August at exactly 5 p.m. They did not do that. The court in its ruling then says the order in question did not say the state papers were supposed to be furnished on the 18th of August at 5 p.m. We were all in court. I myself was in court when that order was issued. So this in a way is an attempt to try and shield the state from its responsibility and a clear sign of executive interference. There must be nothing that is awarded to Job Sikhala in the form of an application. How many applications have been made? A lot of applications which make serious sense, but they've just been thrown away. And even in the circumstances where things are obvious as they were last week, the court has to find a way, of moving around the court order to try and ensure that the law does not prevail. So in a way, you cannot dispute that the judiciary has been tampered with. There are quite a number of cases, Mukoma, wherein serious allegations of corruption have been raised. Corruption of in excess of 5 million. An accused person appears in court. He is actually more of a flight risk because he has his passport. That accused person is granted bail. That accused person is having his passport released to him just the following day after court proceedings. Job Sikhala, whose passport has been confiscated by the state, which we know, it's now in excess of 2 years. His passport has been with the court. But they deny such person a bail. Okay, we take Job Sikhala, we put him aside. Maybe you say he had other issues. Okay, let's have Godfrey Sithole. Why did you deny him bail? Let's have the Nyatsime 14. They have not been in court. It's their first time. Why have you denied them bail? So it's actually a clear sign that there is executive interference because the case of Mo Blessing Ali was unnecessarily politicized.
When you say it was unnecessarily politicized, who did that? Who's responsible for politicizing it?
Well, those that are in power, obviously. You look at how the charge was crafted. Incitement to commit public violence. Look at the events that occurred after that. You had a lot of ZANU-PF officials coming out saying certain things, condemning certain people. So it's obvious. They made it a political issue unnecessary. There were facts that were common cause. That Mo Blessing Ali had been murdered. That the person who was responsible belonged to a certain political party. That was common cause. Where his body was found, the place belonged to members of a certain political party. Job Sikhala is not coming in to say anything about the political party. He's coming in to demand justice. But then we have got members of a certain political party now coming in, denouncing his representative, denouncing his action, and imputing everything that would occur, the violence that had occurred on Job Sikhala and the rest of the people that were arrested with him. So this case it then ceased to be an ordinary case where an ordinary lawyer is demanding justice. It ended up being a case of CCC versus ZANU-PF.
But at one point, Lavmo Maduku accused members of your party, of Job Sikhala's political party, that's the CCC,
yes,
of trying to obstruct justice and making unnecessary political utterances over the death of Mo Blessing Ali, actually arising this situation. And they put Job Sikhala at the center of it. Is that a fair characterization?
I wouldn't say it's a fair characterization. Because, things that were being said when that murder occurred were common because they were facts. They were factual. That Mo Blessing had been murdered. Mo Blessing was a member of the Triple C. That was known. That he had been murdered by a person who was affiliated to the ruling party. That was known. There were even pictures of that person circulating wearing ZANU-PF regalia. It's common cause. You go to Nyatsime there, it's common cause. It's known. He's never disputed that. That's common cause. So those were facts. So there was nothing that was being politicized. Those were facts. Facts don't seem or cease to be facts because there is an issue of someone being told that he belongs to a certain political party. Those were facts.
But if, for instance, if I belong to party X and if I kill someone, does that mean my party is involved? Does that mean party X has killed that person or it's me?
No, not necessarily, Blessed. It's not like that. That's why I'm simply narrowing myself to the issue that they said it was him and he belongs to ZANU-PF. It ended there. They did not say that it's ZANU-PF that killed Mo Blessing Ali. They said it's him. It's like saying this thing has been done by Fred, a lawyer from certain law firm. That was just it. Those were facts. He was killed, yes. By a known person, yes. From certain political party, yes. Those were facts.
Then Lawfare Maduku also went further to say that there needs to be a political negotiation to allow Job Sikhala to walk out of prison, and said the Triple C was being arrogant. What is his view to this?
Well, I respect Professor Lawfare Maduku, and I also respect his opinion. But, I beg to differ. And when I do so, I also speak on behalf of Job Sikhala. Job Sikhala does not want to be released based on public sympathy. He does not want to be released because the executive has been interfered with the judiciary. No, he wants to be released because due process has been followed. What he simply wants is for the executive not to interfere and allow the judiciary to conduct its work in a proper manner. The judiciary is one of the independent arms of the government. With the judiciary, the legislature, the executive. What Job Sikhala simply wants is to allow the judiciary to exercise its work without executive interference. Job Sikhala does not want to be known in history as that person who was released because President Emmerson Mnangagwa interfered with the judiciary. No, he does not want that. He wants to be released because the judiciary is conducting its work in a fair manner. I have no problem with an accused person being released on bail for a case of corruption where 5 million is at the scene and his passport released. Well, it's his constitutional right. Job Sikhala is a lawyer. He would want that because it is constitutional right. That's what he is simply asking. May I have my day in court where my case is handled with a person who exercises independent mind to the law and to the facts, not to be released because someone has interfered with the judicial process. What precedent will we be setting as lawyers? So as a constitutional law expert, I'm sure Professor Maduku would know that the principle of separation of powers is at the core. So why should we have the executive interfering? Why should we have political negotiations for a release of an accused person who has been subjected before the judiciary? What we are simply asking for, what Job Sikhala is simply asking for, what we are demanding, in fact, as of right, is that we have an independent judiciary. Because when we have an independent judiciary, we'll have people who are able to exercise their mind to fact and apply the law as it should be. Not what we've been seeing in the past, Blessed.
But then I want to bring you to the Friends of Sikhala Trust. They held a press conference recently. Does Job Sikhala associate with the statements that were raised at that press conference?
Well, I would not want to comment on that because I'm not privy to the comments that were made at that press conference, and I'm sure they'll be able to actually comment and on that much more better than me because I'm not privy to the statements that were made. But what I can tell you for a fact is that the last time that Job Sikhala was arrested and was said to appear in Masvingo, there was a Friends of Job Sikhala trust that was there, and it's the same thing. There is a group of people that are trying as much as possible to come out and assist Job Sikhala. So I would want to comment on their contents of the statements that they made because I was not privy to that. But I can confirm that there is such an organization and it is affiliated to Honorable Job Sikhala. But I'm not sure about the contents you are referring to.
So basically, because it becomes very important for you as Job Sikhala's spokesperson to clarify, because some of these people, they said that Nelson Chamisa was not doing the best he can to ensure that Job Sikhala is brought out of prison because Job Sikhala represents a threat of power to Nelson Chamisa. So I wanted to find out if the Honorable Job Sikhala you represent associate with such statements.
Well, Honorable Sikhala is not much into the politics, outside. He remains a committed member of the CCC, and he absolutely has no issues with President Nelson Chamisa. That, let me just clear that. He has absolutely no issues with President Nelson Chamisa. He, on the contrary, he in fact appreciates certain efforts that are being done by members of parliament from the CCC towards the welfare of his family. So I will remain there and just emphasize that he's absolutely okay with the work that is being done by members of the CCC and the president. Yeah, I'm sure you noted that even in previous court appearance, President Nelson Chamisa has been coming to talk to Job Sikhala, to talk with the family and assuring that everything is going to be okay. He has been doing quite a lot. So he's okay with what the president is doing as of now.
Amazing. So what is the plan? What is the plan going forward for him? Is he, because before he was incarcerated, at one point I had an interview with him and he said he was prepared to die in prison. Is he still that resolute?
He is. He is that resolute. Like I said, he does not want to be released based on public sympathy or executive interference. He says allow the judiciary to be independent. If they don't do that, and these are his words, he said, I'm prepared to stay here for as long as it takes. That's Job Sikhala. That position has not changed.
But is he in any way affected by what is happening to his family because of his incarceration?
Oh, of course. Just like any father, he would obviously be affected. Other than the issues that I've mentioned earlier on, there are other issues. There are security concerns. There are people who have been calling my Sikhala, pretending to want to assist them. A lot has been happening. The security of his wife, the security of his children. That's why he then had to resolve to say, no, look, please, everything to do with me, do not direct it to my wife. Direct it to a certain person. Because those were issues that were traumatizing her. Those were issues that were putting her at security risk. There was serious risk issues involved. Certain people would simply call from nowhere, my Sikhala, where are you? We want to meet you at a certain place. She doesn't know these people. And all those things happening. So for a person like Job Sikhala, a person with Job Sikhala's status, and what the events that are taking place in Zimbabwe, that's very risky and very dangerous. You can't simply have people calling his wife, and the last time they followed her to church, she called me and said, look, there are some people that are following me. I don't know who they are. And I informed them, you need to call the security. When she called the security, they disappeared. So he's obviously concerned. That's why he had to take these measures to try and relieve her of some of these responsibilities, so that, there is not so much traffic that goes to her and puts her under unnecessary pressure and under security risk.
But why so much target on him? Does he know why he's been at the center of these targets?
Honestly speaking, Mkoma, I don't know. I'm equally surprised. I don't know. Because when I sit down, I ask myself sometimes, is this still an issue of the alleged incitement? Is it still an issue of events that occurred in Nyatsime of More Blessing Ali? Or there is something that is behind? Everyone is asking that question. Why so much attention? Why so much hurt and pain on one person? Everyone is equally asking that very same question. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I understand that just a few days ago, you were also in court over another case of inciting public violence. And this is one of the reasons why the High Court apparently agreed with the Magistrates Court that Job Sikhala should be denied bail.
Well, yeah. And yesterday, the state led another witness, an independent witness, according to them, a police officer as a forensic expert. It's ongoing. It's not yet complete. It's ongoing. But from what you say, to say that was the reason why he was denied bail, it's arguable.
The High Court said the propensity to reoffend.
You know what, Blessed? When you have someone arrested, like what Job is, he's been arrested 67 times. Okay? He's been arrested so many times. In all those cases, Job Sikhala was not convicted. He was cleared. Let's use the word cleared. He was cleared. The courts in all those cases were convinced that what he did there did not constitute a criminal offense. So, what it means is that Job Sikhala is just like any other person who has not committed a crime. A court of law must know that much more better than anyone else. We allow that conversation to be discussed by lay people who don't know what being acquitted means. Being acquitted means you have been cleared of any wrongdoings. So why should you go back to those issues and use them for the purpose of denying someone's bail? It's a court of law, a competent court of law that says, okay, whatever is being alleged, it has not happened. Whatever is being said is a criminal offense. It did not happen. It's not an offense. So why should that be a basis for denying someone's bail? It surely should not. So you cannot judge propensity to commit an offense based on allegations which a court said they don't constitute an offense. It would have been a different case, Mkoma, if we had a situation where Job Sikhala has been arrested maybe 10 times, 4 times, 5 times. Then it would have made sense, because you are simply saying, okay, he committed other offenses wherein he was convicted. But because he was not convicted of those offenses, we actually have case law that says for you to rely on propensity to commit offense, you must have a previous case where this person was arrested and convicted by a court of law. So why should that be a basis for convicting someone? That issue can only be raised by Job Sikhala, wherein he says, look, I've been arrested, but at all material times I've showed up, I've appeared in court, I've been tried. So why should you fear that I'll run away? I will not run away. I will show myself. I will be tried, just like I've been tried in previous cases. Propensity, go back and look at, from the 67 cases, has he ever been convicted? And the answer is a big no. So if it remains no, you cannot look for propensity from those previous cases. It ends there.
You say he was arrested 67 times. How many times was he acquitted?
I cannot tell you offhand how many times he was acquitted, because other cases did not go to court. In some instances, the police would simply arrest him and, then say, okay, we'll release him. In other instances, you'd go to court, you'd appear in court. Job Sikhala has been arrested for nearly almost every offense that exists in the criminal law code. He's been arrested for rape. He's been arrested for assault. He's been arrested for traffic offenses. For the traffic offenses, I know he was acquitted. For the one, there's another for incitement to commit public violence, a trial which was done in Masvingo, he was acquitted. There was another case, treason, subversion, I think in 2012, wherein he was associated with, they tried to link him with some ammunition that was coming from outside the country. He went to court, he was acquitted. So many cases, I can't tell you exact offhand, but the bottom line is he was arrested, and at the end, there was no judgment that said he is guilty of a certain offense. And that's what matters.
He seems to find himself in trouble more often than not. Does he actually go out there to seek these problems?
No. This is politics, Mkoma. This is politics. And I'm quite sure, there is a certain criteria that is used, because most of the things that Job Sikhala does, they are done by almost everyone. But those people are not arrested. There is a lot, even these statements, they are said by a lot of people, but they are not arrested. I'll give you a situation. There is a case of a certain prophet, I'm not sure, is it a prophet, or who said he wants to kill Nelson Chamisa and his children. Imagine if that had been said by Job Sikhala. Imagine if Job Sikhala had said, we want to kill so and so and his children. What would have happened? So certain things are said by members of the public, are said by some people, but they are not arrested for it. But because he's Job Sikhala, and like I said, I don't know why, he ends up being arrested. So one would ask, why was that person not arrested? Why has there been no proper investigation? The person is there, he's seen, he's known, he has not been arrested. Okay, fair and fine, maybe you say it's his freedom of speech, so why not confer the same upon Job Sikhala? Because there's nothing wrong from what he said. The court eventually ends up acquitting him, like what happened in Masvingo, where he said Job Sikhala was declaring war. He said, I'm bringing war at the doorsteps of Emmerson Mnangagwa. The judge said, what's wrong with that? Why do you think war is military? So it appears that they just go through him just to pick certain issues, conduct, words, and try to criminalize it in a way.
How are his children taking their father's arrest and absence from home?
Just like any other child, they would obviously be in pain over what has been going on. You can see during almost every court appearance, his son, who is at the University of Zimbabwe, is there, and it's sad just to look at him each and every time he has to go back without his father. Each and every time that we go there, each and every time that a bail application is made, it's almost obvious that his father will not be released anytime soon. So it hurts them, it's painful, and they are struggling. It's not something that you can get used to. You cannot get used to living without a father, especially when he is alive and when he has been providing something for you. So they are obviously frustrated with the way things have been happening, and they are just hoping, like any other Zimbabwean, that it will be anytime soon rather than later.
And as you interact with those who work to have Job Sikhala denied his constitutional rights, as you say, the prosecutors, the magistrates who sit on that bench, do they have any emotions? Do they have any sense of if what they are doing is wrong?
Well, I wouldn't know, but I expect the conscience of any lawyer to know that this is not correct. You know, when we take oath of office, we raise our hands and we promise to ensure that at all material times we apply the law as it is. So it's not something that I expect them. It's something that they should feel deep inside to say what we could be doing is not what we are expected to be doing. We are servants of the law and the law alone, not servants of any other person. And we must remain servants of the law. It's what I also expect them to have in mind as they preside over those cases. But, you know, in some other instances, some will say, you know, we have no control of this. Because some of these people, we sit down with them, you know, we meet them in family functions. You know, these are just ordinary people, just like us. And they will tell you that, look, what would you have expected me to do in such and such a scenario? But we say when you take an oath of office, we expect you to live, we expect you to abide by that oath. That's the expectation. Be the servant of the law and the law alone and not anyone else.
Do you think they're genuine when they say that they are under pressure to do what they are doing and they continue doing it? Do you think they're genuine?
Well, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. You know, these would just be informal talks. I wouldn't know because I don't know which form of pressure they are subjected to.
But from your heart of hearts, you know, as you look at them conduct their business, do they look like forced people, or they are excited with what they are doing?
Well, to be honest, some do, some don't. Some seem to be actually enjoying. It seems to actually come with some benefits. I don't know. Maybe they are. Because there are certain things, Blessed, that you as a lawyer, as a presiding officer, damage your integrity. And if you are an upright person, if you are a level-headed person, you should know that this damages my integrity more than it gives me benefits. And when you do that, we cannot say that you've got pressure. Well, it's your person that is being damaged. Why do that? You know, that's why I then come to a conclusion that, you know, some of these people actually enjoy these things. Because if not, they also need to consider their personal circumstances. They've got names. They've got names that are being tarnished. And history will judge these people.
They'd rather have pieces of silver, you say?
Yes, more or less. And it's sad. It's very sad, to be honest.
Do you, as we close, do you have any message directly from Job Sikhala that you would want to share with the people of Zimbabwe?
Well, the message I had, I think I've already said it. You know, Job Sikhala said, what I simply want Zimbabweans to pray for, what I simply want Zimbabweans to demand is that we have an independent judiciary. What we must simply demand from the executive is not that they release Job Sikhala, is that they have their hands off the judiciary and allow the judges, the magistrates, to conduct their work free of any political interference. That's what Job Sikhala wants. He says if it's about me being released because of presidential sympathy, I would rather stay here for as long as it takes. I want due process to be followed. They must have their hands off the judiciary and allow the magistrates and judges to exercise their discretion as an independent arm of the state.
Amazing. Thank you very much, Freddie, for joining us here on this program, the Free Talk, in proud partnership with the Frederick Newman Foundation, and I, your host as usual, Dara Blessed Mhlanga. Now, politics, law. The law should not be used for political conveniences. The law is there to protect the citizens of Zimbabwe, to ensure that we are all equal before the law. We, the people of Zimbabwe, the Constitution says, we, the people, we give the courts the power. We give law its meaning through the Constitution. When men and women in the jury sit on that bench, they must carry the spirit of the law to the latter. They must deliver it blind to race, to politics, even to ethnicity or gender. We will seek a country, a nation, where all people are treated equal before the law. Now this is the Free Talk with me, your host as usual, Dara Blessed Mhlanga. Until next time, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you very much for making sure that we, as your station of choice, continue to give you the best quality discussions and the best issues around why you should care. Until next time, thank you very much.